Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you know, I'm Ryder Cotton. I'm a real estate agent, investor, and money making enthusiast here in Tennessee. And today we're going to talk about my first full month on Turo. We're going to go over my experience so far, how many trips I booked, my revenue, expenses, and overall ROI, including my startup costs. However, before we get started, if you could please like, comment, and subscribe, I would be eternally grateful. And don't forget to hit that like button. So how has my experience thus far been for me? To be completely honest, everything up until this point, and even now, everything has been going extremely well. I've been met with no complaints from any of my guests. Everyone has been very kind, considerate, and courteous. Everyone's been very communicative with me, and there's been really no issues with any of the bookings I've had so far. How many trips did I book for the month of August? So in total, I had 8 booked trips for the month of August. However, I did have 3 cancellations, which brought my total bookings down to 5. The reasons they canceled varied. Some guests had more friends coming along on their trip, so they needed a bigger car. Someone else, their family was able to lend them a car while they're here visiting, so they no longer needed my services. What kind of mistakes have I made so far? So up until this point, I haven't made too many grave mistakes. I have made mistakes, which fortunately I haven't had to pay for them, or there weren't consequences associated with it. They're just mistakes that I realized I had made and corrected them in the future. The first couple of trips, I only took about 6 photos of the car. And in reality, I should have been taking at least 80 photos of the car, just because if you read the Turo's terms of services, and you do have an accident and Turo needs to insure something, we need to make sure that the condition of the car has been documented exactly. So the first couple of trips, I only took 6 photos, and if something had happened to anything I had not photographed, I would have had a hell of a time trying to get that covered by Turo or the guests. So as of right now, I am taking between 80 to 110 pictures of the car, and they range from everywhere, from the undercarriage, the wheels, the wheel well, under the hood, in the dash, or inside the car, in the dashboard, all the doors separately, the trunk, the spare tire. So I'm really trying to document every single item of the car in the event something does happen. So that was probably one of my biggest mistakes, and had something happened in my first couple of trips, I really could have had to come out of pocket for a lot of those expenses had something happened, and that would have eaten up all my profit. So the second mistake that I made was I was actually delivering the car to the wrong part of the airport. I did read the directions incorrectly, and I was actually dropping the car off and meeting guests at the incorrect spot. Fortunately for me, I ended up talking to someone in a Facebook group that I'm in who was able to point me in the right direction and kind of show me where I was going wrong. So at the end of the day, I could have been fined hundreds of dollars for making these mistakes. So overall, my in terms of mistakes that I made, not too bad, nothing costly, and nothing that I had to come out of pocket for. What was my revenue for the month of August? Now, I'm actually pretty surprised at how much my Mazda CX-5 made me, and I definitely didn't expect the amount that I made. I was thinking somewhere in the ballpark between $700 and $900 that I might make for my first month on Turo. So I am gonna break down, my revenue trip by trip, and these are after all of Turo expenses. So this is my net revenue coming from Turo. So trip number 1 earned me $266.18. Trip number 2, $303. Trip number 3, $344.25. Trip number 4, $48.75. Trip number 5, $169.13. And the grand total for my month of August was $1,131.41. Yes, that is correct. I did make $1,131.41 my first month on Turo. And I was pretty blown away by this. So I'm really happy with those numbers, and I am really excited to see what September brings for me. For the expenses, so if you're looking at other videos about Turo, I know you're gonna find a lot of other videos kind of giving you a vague idea of what their true expenses are. However, I'm gonna work on giving you the best idea possible on what my expenses are. Not only the expenses that actually I had to pay in the month of August, but also the expenses that I need to account for in the future, such as income tax, reserves, and maintenance. So let's take a look at my expenses. Number one, I did pay for a detailing initially for $75. I had to pay for new key fob batteries for $7. I did have to pay an Uber to get back to my house, $52.79. I had cleaning supplies that I had to purchase and an air filter for $30.38. And by the way, real quick, I want to touch on the air filter thing. I did take my car in prior to starting Turo just for regular scheduled maintenance, and they tried to charge me $70 to replace the cabin air filter. So if you don't know, you can go to Walmart and buy, the cabin air filter specifically made for your car, and it costs me, I think, what, like 10 or 15 bucks. So it cut that price into a third, pretty much. So don't go to the dealership, they'll let them touch that for you. Super easy, super cheap for you to do it on your own. Should take you no more than 5 minutes. Next, I did have my car payment for a total of $358.48. I have my insurance at $71.60. I did have another Uber payment for $39.10. My third Uber payment for $41.29. I needed a car wash for $7. I purchased a new bouncy tracker for $47. There was another car wash. Fortunately, that day there was a problem with the system, so I did get a free car wash. So I didn't include it, but normally that would have been $7. And then lastly, I am saving about 15% of the revenue. I'm setting that aside for taxes. That 15% are $169.71, and I do have maintenance reserves at 7% for $79.20. My total expenses for the month of August came down to $978.55. We know the income and we know the expenses. At the end of the day, this is going to leave me with a profit of $152.80, or an ROI of 15.62%. Not bad at all. I'm very, very happy with these numbers. Of course, if I'm able to get the same numbers in September as I did in August, my ROI will dramatically increase because I'm not paying those initial startup fees. To be honest, we'll see how September does. I don't exactly know. It's my first September. I am hearing that September is a slow month for a lot of other hosts. So I will be doing a 3-month update in January, and I know that's a little more than 3 months. However, I am taking a 6-week vacation to Korea. So I will be putting my car on snooze. If you guys want to see any Korean content, let me know what you'd like to see, and I would love to, provide as much content and value as I could. Lastly, I would like to remind everyone that I started doing Turo to offset the costs of owning my vehicle. My wife and I are now at a point where we need lease or buy 3 cars total, just so we can make this Turo thing work and profitable for us at the end of the day. For the month of August, I was actually able to reduce my personal monthly output by $582.88, which actually alleviated a lot of stress for us. It's an extra $582 that we can spend elsewhere, or just reinvest it back into the business, or this YouTube channel, or my real estate business, or investments. And I would also like to acknowledge the fact that I do have an unfair advantage while starting this Turo business. And I am getting a lot of help from my dad. He's been kind enough to lend me his Jeep to use personally while my car is being rented out on Turo. And he's even been willing to take me to and from the airport on some occasions, which was able to save me some Uber trips. So if you did like this video, please check out this video over here on how I got started and what I made on my first day on Turo.